Nick Nurse came out and shocked a lot of Raptors fans yesterday, saying that Juancho Hernangomez will be a key rotation player for the Raptors entering the season. And additionally, Malcolm Brogdan came out and said he almost joined the Raptors this offseason. So a bunch of stuff to dive into. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors guy, just breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And the first thing we're discussing is Juancho Hernangomez getting major minutes this upcoming season. Now, Juancho Hernangomez is a guy that was signed fairly late in the offseason for the Toronto Raptors, and there's expectations he might be fighting for a roster spot with guys like Delano Banton, Justin Champagnie, with Josh Jackson, these types of players, but no. He was signed to a guaranteed contract, and that didn't put to rest the expectations that he'll be fighting for a roster spot. There was speculation that, if guys like Jackson, who has had a solid preseason, DJ Wilson, these guys, if they had strong performances in training camp and impressed coaches, that Juancho Hernangomez could still be a player that got cut. But this is not the case, and Nick Nurse essentially put any of this speculation to rest by not only saying he's guaranteed on the roster, but came out and said that Juancho Hernangomez will be a fixture in the rotation this season. So he's essentially saying that he wants Juancho to be not a deep bench guy, not a guy fighting for minutes, but as of now, as things stand at this current position in time, with especially Chris Boucher and Otto Porter Jr. dealing with injuries themselves, Juancho Hernangomez, for the first couple of weeks of the season, is going to get an opportunity to be a high-minute getter on this Toronto Raptors squad. Now, he's obviously shown an ability to play defense during the preseason. He's very long, he's very athletic, and the three-point shot is something that he hasn't taken a lot of them, but he's been fairly efficient, knocked down one or two threes. In each performance he's out there. So Juancho's definitely a guy that can knock down the three ball, but he's had ups and downs over the course of his career, and just watching him play on the court, sometimes he's passive, sometimes he's very aggressive, right? And this is what Nick Nurse is sort of saying. He mentioned how Juancho, during the Eurobasket tournament, where he ended up winning gold, looked absolutely amazing in the championship game. And apparently it's very psychological with Juancho Hernangomez. If he knows he's going to be getting some shots, if he knows he's going to be getting some minutes, get some touches, then he's a much better shooter, right? And anyone that's played basketball knows, regardless of what level you're at, it's all mental, sort of your scoring ability, your ability to knock down shots. We saw it with guys in the past, especially Terrence Ross's, Norman Powell's of the world. When they got a lot of opportunities, they seemed to shoot better. When they didn't, they just seemed not very effective at all. Nick Nurse wasn't blunt by any means, but he did indicate that Juancho Hernangomez is a much better player when he's expecting jump shots. So I think what Nurse is doing, is saying, hey, Juancho, you're guaranteed to going to be getting minutes to start the year. You're not fighting for anything. You don't have to look over your shoulder, and we're going to give you proper opportunity to see if you can be that three-point shooter the Raptors desperately need coming off their bench. So watch out for the first couple weeks of the season. Watch out for how Juancho Hernangomez looks in terms of confidence, in terms of his ability to step into those shots, knock them down, because that is a desperate need for this Raptor squad. And we're definitely going to get some of that boost in Otto Porter Jr. once he finally is able to play. But if we can get Juancho and Otto Porter coming off our bench, added to our core group of players that we had last season, we're going to be a nasty squad, especially with the emergence of Delano Banton. It should be a very exciting year. So I'm excited to see the cruise missile. Still need to do up that animation for him, but I'm happy that he's going to get an opportunity at least at the start of the season. But let me know what you guys think about him being a rotation player, because some people were calling for him to get cut rather than some of our deep bench guys. I know a lot of people are high on Josh Jackson right now. Everyone, obviously, we saw a lot of promise in Champagnie last season.
All right. Yeah.
So are you guys a little bit mad that he's not having to fight for a roster position, or are you happy Nick Nurse is giving him the vouch of confidence so he can knock down some threes? Let me know in the comment section below. But the next thing we're talking about is Malcolm Brogdan almost joining the Toronto Raptors this most recent offseason. Now, I came out, and I believe I was vocal on this podcast about, what is Masai Ujiri doing? Not acquiring Malcolm Brogdan for the trade offer that the Pacers accepted, right? The Pacers ended up accepting essentially a late first-round pick, right? The Celtics' first-round picks are essentially second-round picks because they're going to be an upper echelon team in the Eastern Conference for years to come. For a guy, Malcolm Brogdan, who at one point was a 50, 40, 90 player, 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from the free throw line. Yes, has dealt with a multitude of injuries, but is on a solid contract, is one of the best facilitators in terms of point guards in the league, plays elite defense, has long arms, right? Why is he on the trade market and we're not making a push for him? But it seems that the Raptors did make a push for them, and then the criticism was unwarranted because the Raptors were essentially in play and almost were this close to acquiring Malcolm Brogdon, but the Pacers wanted to do right by their player, and they let him choose what team to go, the Celtics or the Raptors. And Malcolm Brogdon came out and essentially said that he had the option of going to the Celtics or the Raptors via trade, and the veteran guard explained why he picked Boston. Now, this is from an audio podcast, Sirius XM. Essentially, what he said was both organizations are great. It would have been, there were his two selections, right? The Pacers wanted to do right by him, sending to him a good team, but the Celtics were a team that's further along. And while I could sit here and be we're Raptors fans, we're gonna roast the Celtics at any chance we can get, and we think we're gonna be better than the Celtics, this, that, and whatever. And while I do believe that we're gonna be better than the Celtics, my Raptors home fandom, I get why Malcolm Brogdon selected the Celtics over the Raptors, especially at the point in the season when he did, because the Boston Celtics were coming off a championship. They still had their head coach. They almost coming off a championship. They made the finals, so they had Robert Williams that's going to be coming back. They sort of have an opening at the point guard position with Marcus Smart. Yes, is a starting point guard in the league, but not the all-star caliber player that we have in Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes. So there's a potential for him to be in the starting unit for that Celtics squad. I get why he selected the Boston Celtics, but it's a little bit of extra, fuel for the Raptors' fire to see a division rival, a guy that's not a superstar by any means, but an upper echelon player that we faced in the playoffs multiple years with those Milwaukee Bucks teams, right? He ended up joining a rival of yours in your division. I'm hoping the Raptors uses a little bit of fuel, even though I completely get why he ended up making that decision. But it's very cool that the Raptors were in the mix for Malcolm Brogdon. I'm happy they're active on the trade market. But this is the second point guard, and I think this is the real interesting bit of news out of this, because this is the second backup point guard we were very, very close to actually acquiring. Dennis Schroeder, apparently he had the choice between the Raptors and the Lakers, and I believe the Phoenix Suns. Ended up choosing the LA Lakers. So we were in the mix to acquire Dennis Schroeder, who had an amazing Eurobasket performance. As this segment is mentioning, we almost acquired backup point guard Malcolm Brogdon, who would have been backup point guard for us, was a starter for those Pacers teams for many years. But is Masai Ujiri on the hunt? Does he see the holes that we see? But with Delano Banton's emergence, maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because Delano has looked absolutely amazing this preseason. Let me know in the comment section below. But do you still, even with Delano Banton's performance, want to see the Raptors go out and acquire a backup point guard? Let me know in the comment section below. But the next thing we're discussing is NBA TV has an interesting Eastern Conference prediction. Now, this is a Brendan Haywood segment, I believe, coming out, but I'll just show it here on the screen. And at the first seed, they have the Milwaukee Bucks. The second seed, you have the first seed from last season, Miami Heat. The Sixers, everyone's talking about Harden being an MVP candidate. I'll believe it when I see it. But the Nets, all the chaos that they have, I'm surprised they're in top 4. The Celtics, who made the finals last year. The Cavs at 6, the Bulls at 7, the Hawks at 8. Clearly, the missing team in this list is the Toronto Raptors, and I've been saying it. I've been shouting it out on podcasts. We're going to be a top 3 seed this season. I've locked that in. I've backing it up. I'm going to continue to throw that out here on the podcast. But NBA TV, they did the exact same thing last season. They're just they know they get reactions and stuff. People like me reacted to them when they make choices like this. So have your views, NBA TV, but a bunch of foolishness coming out on that front. And the final thing we're looking at is Brian Windhorst. We got some disrespect in the previous segment, some respect coming from Brian Windhorst, as he came out on ESPN and just basically said the Raptors are going to be a spoiler team in the Eastern Conference, meaning everyone has their projections, everyone has their predictions. There's more sexy teams in the Eastern Conference, but the Raptors are going to be a team that comes in and spoils the party for all these big name teams, big name players that think they're going to trek their way through the Eastern Conference. So shout out Brian Windhorst. He always he's got some good insights. So I like that we're getting the respect, the disrespect, we're reacting to it all on this podcast. But folks, you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. Subscribe to the channel. And I mentioned it here. If you made it this far in the video and you want to join our fantasy league with a bunch of Raptors fans, join the Raptors Digest Fantasy League. You just have to join the channel membership, the Superstar tier, and a link will be able to, you'll have the instructions to sign up for the squad. So definitely join that. Enough of me rambling. You guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.